Autumn Cook on the Fishbowl. Welcome.
Thank you.
Um, First of all, I loved you on Faceoff. I've been waiting for a show to come out like that for decades. That I love makeup effects. I've always loved makeup effects. I thought, I'm kind of saddened that in the last decade per se, they kind of phased out makeup effects in
They're
a
starving
sense.
us.
Yeah, it's like but I'm happy that we're starting to get to like a return of monster movies,
Absolutely.
and hopefully that means the return of practical effects also.
I'd like to see that whole 80s shtick come back, like something hatching out of a pod,
Right,
getting you while you sleep,
right.
creeping under your bed. I think that whole thing died in the 90s, and
It did the late '90s.
yeah, and it was what made our childhood special.
Right, right. And it's like I just actually graduated Quinn Park here in
Mm.
Pittsburgh for screenwriting, and let me just say that I am a product of the '80s, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring back the '80s in a big, big way.
It needs to happen. Everybody's so busy trying to make their political statement that they're losing their own identities being
Right,
political now, and
right.
you know it gets old.
It does.
And
It's
then
like
Hollywood with the whole PG-13 thing. The
right,
horror movies are to sell a
right,
product. They're
right.
not there to.
Right. It's like I just saw Logan on Friday, and I have to say, I am shocked, but in a good way, with the amount of graphic violence that are in that movie. It's also it's like when did it not become okay to make comic book movies are?
Yeah.
We had Blade, we had The Punisher,
Well,
you know.
back in the day, like even comic books were taboo.
Yeah, exactly,
And then
exactly.
they're just gonna rehash the same comic book over and over again with
Right.
different actors. Like who's gonna be Spider-Man this week? And
Right.
it was cool at first, but it got to the point where I don't fucking care
I
anymore.
don't
I don't
anymore.
even want. I don't care who's Spider-Man. I don't care if there's a new one out because it's
Right.
been overplayed so many times that I was really like when The Witch came out. Everybody's like, I don't think a lot of people got it, the
Right.
art houseness of it,
Right.
and things like that. People wanted a gore fest,
Right.
and then there were people that didn't get it, the intellectual, artistic nature of the film. No, I don't know. I work with a lot of gore. I work with a lot of gore people. But I also think there has to be an intellectual backing to the film. Like you could have all the gore in the world, but if you're just gonna make poop jokes, Eli Roth,
Yes, thank you.
like
Thank you.
why,
Right.
who are you trying to appeal to? Like the bottom rung,
Right. Rob
of
Zombie also.
exactly.
Like
I'm not a Rob Zombie fan, but he knows the right people. He gets the
yeah.
right budgets.
Yeah.
If he wanted to feed me, I'd let him pay me.
Right. But it's like as a screenwriter, I feel like Rob Zombie's like totally missing out on what it means to be a writer.
Well, first of all, you have to be able to write music.
Right. And like I think The Devil's Rejects is probably his best film of that stature. I mean, I kind of really like El Super Beasto just because it's a cartoon. Um, but you know,
I walked out of the cartoon in the theater, and I made it through maybe like 40 minutes of Devil's Rejects.
yeah, it's
And
tough.
it's tough for me. People are like, oh, you're into horror, this and that. Like, I can't watch a lot of this stuff. I
Yeah.
can't watch a lot of stuff because intellectually it's not there.
Right. Right.
Um, if you're gonna keep the visual interest with the gore,
Right.
keep the visual interest. I think Hostel, when that came out, and this it's an old film, but that was very disappointing to me. Like I
Me
go to
too.
an rated R film, and I believe I saw 10 sets of breasts before the
Right.
gore scene.
Right.
Okay, because breast to me, I'm a woman. That's a substitution
Right.
for
Exactly.
plot, horror,
Exactly.
effects, you know. So I had to sit through, and that was my birthday date, which was ruined. So I sat through 10 sets of breasts, and then they finally get to the gore scene where they cut off his toe or
Right.
finger or whatever, um, and they cut away.
Right. It's
Okay,
really
it's obviously not rated PG
right.
at
Exactly.
this point, from what I've
Exactly.
seen, and they're gonna cut away at that point. I didn't walk out of the theater because I was on a date,
Right.
but it was, I want to go. I want to see effects. I want a plot. If I go to a film and it's a boot, like my friend Brian K. Williams, awesome movie maker. He's making Space Babes from Outer Space. Calls it Space Boobs from Outer Space. Advertises it with boobs. You know what you're getting into.
Right. Right.
If God bless him, but don't trick me into
Right.
it.
Exactly.
Don't trick me.
And
The CGI blood spill is harsh.
is
It's
harsh
harsh.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. If
And
it can't get on you,
right. Right.
it takes the effect away. Even with like rubber monsters and stuff, it can touch you. It can still touch you. It might look sloppy,
Right.
but it's gonna get you.
Right.
And there's something that's taken away from the film where if it can't get you, it takes away the whole ick factor. Like we want
Exactly.
to feel icky,
Right. And like on Eli Roth and Rob Zombie, it's like I really hate the genre of horror that was created in the 2000s with movies
Yeah.
like Hostel and House of a Thousand Corpses and um, some of where the Saw movies went after one. It's like I don't like gore porn.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I like to be entertained with horror, but like you said, you want a plot.
Well, that's the thing too. I think in probably the last 4 years, I turned down working on more films than I accepted because of horror porn. And being a woman in the industry, if I see the director and how he treats his female actresses, that determines very much how that director is going to respect me as a woman on set.
Right.
And honestly, I think most directors have tried to get me in their films. And I was just in Fred's film recently because he's one of my best friends, Fred Vogel. But just because he's one of my best friends, and that was like a 2 minute cameo, fully clothed,
Right.
being the makeup artist, Um, but I turned down a Menage a Trois scene in Tom Savini's film because I was the makeup artist. I like to stay behind the camera,
Right.
and sometimes I might dress up nice, but like I still expect that respect, and in certain props and certain genres. I got asked to make a baby for a rape scene. I've got asked to make vaginas for fisted. Like I make my effects at home. If I can't have it in my home, you know, and then I have to explain this or lose connections because of this, that affects everything as well. I have to be proud of what I put out, and there was a film recently. I actually just jacked up my rates because I didn't want to insult the guy, you know but I didn't want my name on it either, and I jacked up my rates, and then I had one of the stipulations was not putting my name on the film. Why bother? If it's not
Right.
something you can, in this field, it's word of mouth and stuff like that. It's like, what kind of people, what kind of fans do I want? And with this genre and stuff, like, I don't put my pictures of my child on Facebook.
Right.
We're at a convention now. Yesterday, I had a customer here for half an hour trying to see my feet. It's just an awkward society, and I see my friends are putting out this genre and the people they have to deal with and the things they cause, and having them realize, like, wow, these sick people like my stuff and it attracts these certain people, and then just trying to correct that and level it out, and watching, like, this movie's not for kids, next to us right now, and there are certain fan bases you will attract, and you have to be careful about. even reality TV, I got like it's all edited, you know. None of that's real, but
Right.
people want to believe what they see on TV.
Right.
They want to have hope in that, and you get all kinds. But I judge a horror fan too. If they like the intellectual horror, or yeah, they're walking for all zombie shirts. They probably won't like
Right.
stuff.
It's like I've seen Rob Zombie a few times in concert, and it's like he puts on a good show, but I don't think he has any right to be behind the camera. If anything, he should be making cameos in movies,
Yeah.
like as himself,
Well,
you
that's like
know.
the 80s. Like, you remember the 80s, you were there,
Right.
you're saying. Okay,
Right.
so like, remember that whole Satan shtick we had to deal
Yeah,
with, where their
exactly.
parents were trying to
Right.
burn our vinyl.
Right.
And like, my aunt took all my back patches off my jean
Right.
jacket and burned them. And like, they would have the intervention heavy metal talk with you. Okay,
Right.
so we dealt with all this in the 80s, and like, it was all about Satan. You know,
Right.
Satan was coming to get us. Like, people still trying to bank on Satan in 2017. Come on, man.
Right. Right.
Like, that's what was refreshing about The Witch, I think, because it was like, it wasn't trying to, it was more an explanation of the rebellion and the falsehood of certain things, but it wasn't like, you know, the devil, big pentagrams, and
Right.
it's just trying to sell. Like, that's so. I don't know. I'm old now. I'm 40, so it's like that's so cheesy to me.
Right.
Like, does that still appeal to kids? Should I be selling that stuff at my table?
Right, I mean, I guess it's all about how you reinvent it.
Yeah.
Versus there's difference. Like this is my
You
viewpoint.
gotta stop redoing everything. You gotta
You
reinvent
shouldn't
things.
remake it. You should reinvent it.
Exactly.
And the issue that I have with so many horror movies that come out these days is like they're trying to remake and recapture something that had its time, and
They want to put their name on it too and
Exactly.
ride the coattails
Exactly.
rather than like, if you can't do it better than the original.
Exactly.
Don't
Ghostbusters
bother.
is one of the most prime examples of like you just it shouldn't have been done.
Yeah.
And the sales that it lost, the money it lost at the box office, because everybody was like, what the fuck, basically.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to see, like it wasn't about being an all-female cast. It wasn't about,
Well, that's
that
the
at
political
all.
correctness
That-
nowadays. Everybody needs
Right.
their chance. Everybody needs their
Right.
name on it. Everybody needs a trophy.
Right.
And life's not like that.
It isn't, and I mean, with my own writing, it's like, being a product of the 80s, growing up in the 90s, it's like you get the tail end of, because I was 88,
Yeah.
so it's like you get the tail end of all this awesome stuff that came up until 88, and then you grow up rewatching that, and then being there for all the cool stuff in the 90s. And my biggest influences are Wes Craven, John Carpenter, Clive Barker,
Absolutely
Stuart
Craven.
Gordon, that whole team. And it's like I would never in my right mind think of remaking any of the
Hellraiser,
classics.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean,
They should be hung
right,
up and
right. I mean,
impaled
the
if
thing
they
that I
thought
do
of
want
it.
to do to Hellraiser though is I want to adapt the Scarlet Gospels into a movie, which I think
That's a whole
that's,
different
that's
film
a whole
unto
different
itself.
film.
Yeah.
It's like Shane Black and Fred Decker have the right idea with Shane Black said it best with adding on to the Predator franchise.
Yeah. It's like, once you already have a legacy, you can either
Right.
destroy that legacy
Right.
or you can keep that legacy and ride it.
Right, and you can add on to it, like he said, because it's like I have a Predator film in the works also that I'm writing, and it's like, I would never in my right mind think of remaking something, unless it's something that deserves to be remade, like Rawhead Rex,
Or like something that was never really
Right.
made in
Exactly.
the first place,
Done
that
right in
like
the first place.
should have been
Right.
seen.
Because there's a bunch of 80s movies that were they're fun to like rewatch just for how cheesy they are. But you can think to yourself like, man, with the practical effects we have now, with the storytelling abilities that we have now, you could remake these films and have it be twice as scary, and truer to the literature that it came from, and twice as scary
It's
and
like
terrifying.
remaking Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, right.
Absurd to me. And then like I watched it, but like having me sit there wanting to sympathize with Freddy Krueger because he's
Right.
like a pedophile. Like
Right.
I wanted none of that.
I had none of it.
None of it. And it just I wouldn't even watch it twice. Like I
Right.
heard Heather won't watch it at all.
Yeah, I talked to her when she was here a few years ago, and I asked her what her opinion was on that film, and she straight out said it's garbage,
It is.
trash. I will not watch it. And I've been sharing on Facebook her statement about that,
Yeah.
because it's like that's a film that shouldn't be remade.
No, it's too early.
It's too early. What? I don't think it should be remade at all.
It shouldn't be, but like
You
wait till Robert
Right.
Englund's
dead
for 10 years
10,
or
20
something.
years, before you try and like bring that back.
Let it be forgotten, but
Right.
you can't.
That's another thing, like trying to bring back all these 80s movies when it's like, not even all of us 80s kids are in our 30s yet.
Yeah, why
what
can't
I mean?
people just make something different?
New,
hasn't
just
been
new, It's like one of my. I'm a big.
Well, Jordu Shell. Fred
Right.
Fred and them were just filming with them. Jordu Shell's making a monster movie, so I'm really excited about that because he's a monster maker making a
Right.
monster movie.
Right.
So it got a creature.
Right.
So
Right.
That's what we need.
It's like most of my writing consists of, monster movies, but the villains having great dialogue like Pinhead did, and being smart and intelligent.
Just the cinematography.
Yeah.
In that, James Wan's getting like I like James Wan. I just it's the same shtick over and over again anymore.
Right.
Like the jump scares.
Right.
Boo.
Right.
I'm like intellectually challenge me.
Right.
I can't like. I'm 40. I got a weak heart. Like the jump scare could kill me,
Right.
but not in a good way. Like if you want to give me horror, like give me something that's gonna retch in my bed thinking at night.
Right. Exactly.
Like the first time you saw Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right. Or the first time you saw Hellraiser. The first time you saw the Texas Chainsaw
Just
Massacre.
the dreams and the thoughts, like driving through a field. Your thoughts driving through a field change.
Right. I want movies to give me nightmares. Like the first time I saw it, it gave me nightmares. And I was like, that's what I want. I want a film to.
You don't look
me.
at a sewer the same
Right.
anymore.
Right.
You just it changes your perception.
Right.
That's I want to see perceptions change. I want to see a film that questions my thought process about things. Not doesn't end in a poop joke and a jump scare.
Right.
I can't anymore.
Right. Now, I have to share this with you because we're on the subject of horror masters here.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to have George Romero's desk.
Oh, that's cool.
And I always like to say this in my interviews because, especially we're at Horror Realm 2017. It's like I'm writing my screenplays on George Romero's desk, and I have to say I feel his aura, surging through me whenever I write a script, because it's like
that energy's there.
The energy's there. It's
absolutely.
I've written 2 zombie scripts on that desk, and I'm now developing Creepshow into an anthology TV series. So it's like it's all there, but there's something about the horror masters that screenwriters should be studying and not saying we want to remake this, we want to be inspired to do something new.
We grew up we had the Creepshow, and we had the Savini teachers, and so we had all those old Italian guys. We had Tales from the Dark Side, and then we had Monsters came out in the late '80s. Steve Johnson did that, but we had but we still grew up on Hitchcock, Ray Bradbury, all those great anthology type, mystery, intellectual horror things that I miss all of it. Like, there's nothing like that.
Right.
I'm glad to see Netflix getting back
Yeah,
into
I'm
it
happy
a
that
little bit.
Netflix is really gearing up with the horror stuff.
They are. What was that? Black Mirror. If you see
Yeah,
the Black
Black
Mirror
Mirror,
series, that
Stranger
was
Things. That's
Stranger Things was awesome. I sat and watched that in one night binge.
and now they're doing they're doing that original film of Gerald's Game.
Yeah,
From
I've been
Stephen
trying
King.
to watch the Drew Barrymore one. I keep falling asleep. But, yeah, I'm trying to watch the Santa Clarita Diet one. It just it could use a little more. Black Mirror was phenomenal, though. I think one of the episodes had me crying. Even I was just like, "Wow, I can't believe I'm even identifying with these characters because the
Right.
characters are so far off. If somebody can get you to identify with characters you have nothing in common with and
Right.
feel the emotions of those characters, like that's art."
Right.
Because
Right.
I'm not a dying 90-year-old lesbian, like
Right.
for me to identify with that and like have emotional feelings about the episode, it was amazing to me, like all of those episodes were really good, but we need more of that. And then how many people are not going to see that? That's not on cable, that's
Right.
not on television.
Right.
It's some of it, the subjects are too taboo, too real. They're not
Right.
going to cause conflict
Right.
amongst people. If anything, they're going to unite people over a deep thought.
Exactly. And it's like I recently watched a Frank Zappa documentary, and Zappa basically has this statement that he made when, like we were talking about in the 80s with the whole um, you know parental advisory ban that was
Absolutely.
going on, and he was one of the major artists that was threatened by the parental advisory, and he made some uh, comment statement that was basically like um, society telling us that we have to label music is not allowing us, like the creative people, to think. And if you're not creative enough to think on your own, by labeling something, you're not allowing the people
I
that
think
aren't creative to
labeling
think.
is fine. Like as parents should be pre-warned. You can't just let your kids. As a
Right.
parent, like I wouldn't let them watch my kid watch my best friend's films or my best friend's concert. But like to try to prevent, ban, stop. God, the kids in Berkeley are burning free speech
Right.
signs.
Right.
Yesterday or something. Like I don't know what the hell happens to stuff, but that shit gotta stop. You have to have free speech. You have to have free thought.
Right.
Whether that thought's a belief in your own head in a god, or whether that thought, like, as long as you're not acting and penalizing others for the
Right.
beliefs or thoughts in your head. Have thoughts. We need to think. We need to get that stuff off in our heads so we're not
Right.
slaughtering
Right.
people and gutting people, and
Exactly.
let us think fucked up thoughts.
Exactly.
It's healthy.
It's like
It's
my
when we act on those fucked up thoughts and suppressing
Right.
that thought and being told how to think, like, suppresses all of that
Right.
anger and
Right. I
rage,
mean,
and you're gonna
my dad, started me out on a very selective diet with movies, and I was 5 years old when I saw my first R-rated movie, and that was Total Recall.
They didn't
And
know any better.
I my dad, had this idea of just covering my eyes on nudity until I was in my double digits.
That's what my
you know.
parents did too.
Yeah.
I saw American Werewolf in London
Right.
at the drive-in at 5 years old when it came out, and it was like I got to see all of the gore. But when that porn movie
Right.
came on, like my eyes were covered.
Right.
Like, of all things, but like
Right.
violence, yeah, it
the,
was
the
like
graphic violence, it's like my dad just like started me out in a strict regimen. It was like, start with the essentials: Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Bruce Willis, and then
Zombie Jack was my first crush as a girl.
and, and then he started me on the horror movies. I don't think I was allowed to see Hellraiser until I was like in my double digits. But like Nightmare, Jason, um, you know, Leatherface, Ash, all that was what I was watching before I was even in my double digits.
I was way too damn young. My mother was too young. She would take me to the drive-in and sneak me in under a blanket in the back seat, and So I would see the films. I think I saw Poltergeist 7 times at the drive-in before I was, God, I was like
Right.
7 years old.
My mom and dad took me to a drive-in when I was really little, and the movie they took us to go see was Leave It to Beaver and
Jeez.
George of the Jungle. But what I was doing the whole time, because on the other screen that I could see from in the car
Yeah.
was Event Horizon.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was just
Getting your fill
like
and everything.
I wasn't paying attention to like
George
George
of
of
the
the
Jungle.
Jungle. I was
No Curious
just
George.
reading lips, for Event Horizon, So
My mom would try to make up for it, like, well, I'll show you the making of it, and we'd watch movie magic or whatever,
Right.
and it was just I would see Screaming Mad George on all these documentaries.
Right.
I'm like, that's who I want to be
Society.
when I grow up.
Society.
I'm like, yeah,
Oh
but
my God.
I would see Screaming Mad George, and I'm like, he's a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
And he's getting paid.
Right.
And he looks like the happiest person I've ever
Right.
seen. I'm like, if I could be him, I'd be the happiest person
Right.
I've ever seen.
Oh man, that's bringing up some memories.
But that stuff damaged me. Like, if it wasn't watching the horror movies that messed me
Right.
up, it was watching the making of
Right.
the horror movies and being influenced by these crazy bastards, and then trying to take pictures of tissue paper and water and
Right.
the effects it would do, and then playing dead just to freak your parents out at a young
Right,
age,
right.
and seeing if you could get away with it too well.
Right. Screaming Mad George. Now that guy is talented. I mean, the stuff that he created. I mean, Society is one of my top favorite called horror sci-fi movies from the 80s, and the Guyver also.
Yeah.
And how many other awesome films is that? Reanimator, Bride of Reanimator.
Oh, I love Reanimator. That's just fun. That's a fun film.
Well, all of them, highly just, Lovecraft is probably my favorite author of all time, and it's a lot of my writing is adapting his stuff, and kind of definitely inspired by the Stuart Gordon Reanimator team, but with think a bigger budget, and just again this is what I'm talking about. It's the inspirations of these classics, and the guys who did it best in the 80s and in
Oh,
the
yeah.
90s, and their inspiration, leading on to, young up and coming writers like myself, and hopefully a lot more like me, because it's like I said, I
Well, it's
think
getting you guys the right support and recognized.
Right.
If your plot's not PG-13 and pushing Pepsi, if you can't put it on Pepsi,
Right.
Getting it even recognized,
It's tough. I mean,
it is.
the writer's hardest, most, being a screenwriter, it's the thing we deal with most that's troublesome, is getting our original idea out there, because Hollywood is so into themselves exactly, and to instead of what would be awesome, and to the art, true to the art form, it's they think about the dollar bills and what is
But
this
it's
going to
you
cost.
thinking, I'm an up and coming filmmaker, they'll help me climb the ladder. No, they'll kick your knees out so
Right.
you can't climb.
Right.
They're psycho in Hollywood, man. They're you gotta be careful who you show your idea to, because it'll become their idea.
Right.
And they already got the budget to go with it.
Right,
They got the whole
exactly.
backing behind them, and you show them your idea, and then it's their idea, and you're watching somebody else in Hollywood bank off your idea. Tim Gore. But I don't know, I don't know. The last couple years, I'm when I went on Faceoff, I'm like, oh, I'd like to get into Hollywood, and then seeing people actually work on the big films, making, casting armor plate pieces for Captain America. I'm just casting scales. I gotta make 750 scales for this. Fuck that.
Right.
Fuck that. Like, I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to do that. I work on a film with my friends now, and we have a good time, and we don't sleep, and we age 10 years, and you know what? It's my name on it. You
Right.
know, and it's my work. I know I did it. I know what I fucked up when I see it. You know, you know, I know what I did. You know, other people get to see what I did, and there is gratification to that. There's pride with that, and there's a pride of the team where it's our film. You know, we did it together, and like I can't imagine having any camaraderie with a 400 plus effects crew. Like,
Right.
you know, you gotta have your buddy that has your back that you trust because
Right.
you might
Exactly.
fall over. You know, and I like to have strong relationships with people. Like a lot of people are superficial. I like to say, like I don't know. I think that's what I think too. Like being independent, being from a small town like Pittsburgh, like I have an issue, and then working in the industry too, you meet a lot of superficial people, and there's a superficiality I just can't do. It's a fakeness. There's an ignorance to it. There's a fucking rudeness to it. And a lot of people in the industry and stuff like that, and a lot of people in this room today are superficial. There's some of them is stuck up C-listers over there. But it's like superficial. You're working with somebody, they're a wonderful person, and then it's like now they're too good to know you. Well, I'm still gonna work on films. Like, who am I going to work with again as
Right.
well? And you have to keep a camaraderie, a trust, like look beyond that. I don't know. Like there's some people like I was good friends with. Like I would say Russo was a good friend, and then he's just as soon as if you know the right person at the right time, or if you're working with the right person at the correct time, then they're your best friend.
Right.
But then it's like once that person or you're working on something else or they don't know what you're working on, then you're like a stranger. It's like,
Right.
what the hell is that?
Right.
You like know somebody or you don't know somebody. You
Yeah,
friends with
exactly.
somebody. You're like you can't. It can't be based on who they know and what they know and what they can do for you. Because at that end of that, I'm not gonna do shit for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I do know that person and that person is walking around for me, I'm not introducing them to you.
Right.
And that's the thing too. Is like I'm the kind of person like I would give my right arm for anybody. But just like I don't know. There's like a superficiality I don't like about the industry. There's there's bigotry in the industry too. Like I was really surprised. Like the people talking about female filmmakers and this and that, women in horror and the people making their women in horror movies never hire women effects artists. Women effects artists just aren't sexy to them, so they'll hire male effects artists. You mention it to them, they'll block you, delete you, just it's asinine. It's a superficial, people say what they need to say to get the fans that they need to have, whether
Right.
those fans be women
Right.
or the whole Hillary Clinton thing, like just appealing to women. I'm like, men were pissed at me for not voting for. I never said who I voted for, okay? And I'm not stating that, and I'm not stating about the orange guy or nothing like that. I will say I did not vote for that woman because men told me to vote for that woman. Doesn't make it okay to vote for a woman. Like if I don't agree with her ideals, and I particularly liked Vladimir Putin at the time. I'm just like, you can't, I don't know, like, that's a free thought thing, too. Like, people need to have their own beliefs, their free thoughts, and we need to be able to discuss those beliefs, free thoughts openly. You can't, like, this whole society now, it's like, if you don't think the way I think,
Yeah, exactly.
that I'm just not, I'm going to shut you off from life.
Right.
Like, that is not how civilized society operates.
Right.
We have to discuss our differences and learn how to live with each other with our differences.
Right.
Like, I would be able to live in a room with Rob Zombie, and I would probably tell him, like, yeah, I don't watch your shit, but you might be a nice person. You know?
Right.
But like, I would be honest, and I wouldn't, like, butter him up. I wouldn't, like, if I was in a fucking room with Rob Zombie, and he's, like, fucking famous and shit, I'm not. I would be like, dude, that's cool, you're famous. I don't particularly like your shit, but that's cool. And like, we would find a common way to get along as human beings. I wouldn't be like, dude, you're the greatest just because he's fucking Rob Zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not a superficial fake schmuck.
Right.
And I get more shit for not being that superficial fake schmuck. But I think people deserve the respect and dignity of realness. And that's even in special effects.
Definitely.
Even in film. Like, the blood has to get on you. You deserve that respect of that extra 5 minutes to splash it on the actor's face.
Right.
You know? And the actor should take it too. The actor should get dirty. And that horror actors and actresses and anybody who's worked in our films especially that has put up with that sticky shit is ultra commendable. Anybody who has effects done on them becomes a creature, gets disemboweled. In Mana, we had a girl, Mel Heflin. She's going through some stuff now, and I think John Russo is actually going to be at her fundraiser coming up. They're doing a fundraiser for her. She had a terrible family tragedy, but she was in Mana, volunteered her time for the film, and stood naked, wearing a pig head, covered in blood, in a freezing garage for like 3 hours for the film, and wanted the shot. She wanted the shot. She made sure we got every shot, and it was on her. It was like, are you okay? Can you do this anymore? Like, get the shot. I'm in it for the art. Like, that is so commendable.
Right.
And we got some beautiful shots. I even have her on one of the prayer candles here.
Awesome.
But in the film, I mean, it's absolutely just an artistic perception. It's like a dream trance our actor's in the film, where he sees her covered in blood wearing the pig head. But what she had to go through for that.
Right.
You know, and everybody. I recently worked with Crispin Glover, and him in his own film, acting, directing. We did effects on him. I decapitated him in his film. I had to do head cast on him in between times he was directing, setting up shop where he's, you know, getting effects and makeup done, and, you know, by all means losing his mind, because fucking how the hell are you gonna hold that much shit together? Just a amazing eccentric artist. And I think a lot of people think he's weird and this and that, but to be able to hold that many creative things together in your own mind, it's a fucking art form. It is absolutely amazing working with somebody that creative and getting in their head and being able to be in their head and seeing what they're going through and how they're thinking. I was just privileged to be there. Like, I know a lot of other people that don't like to work with them.
Right.
But they're not artists.
Right.
You know, so I can see, like, a lot of people don't like to work with me, but they're not artists, you know. But other art, I think, like, there's a creative zone we get in that we understand. I love being an effects makeup artist mostly because of being able to get with the writer, get with the director, get in their head, bond with them, and find their vision. Working with Michael Todd Schneider, even, like, the whole crew would be frustrated because he'd go in his head. And I would just go in and be like, you've been in your head 20 minutes. We're waiting. They don't know how long they're in their head.
Right.
They're in there plotting the entire film, replaying it, and all this in their head. And once you see their vision, you can't rush an artistic vision. It will not turn out right. They have to do it in their own time, their own way, and all you can do is support that.
Right.
And to the best of your ability, you know. And I love that part of the job. That's the best part of it.
Right.
You know,
Well,
because
I'll be honest with you. It has always been my dream to be like done up in makeup. So if you ever need, I'm local. So if you
okay,
ever need like a
a
test
monster
subject,
or
a
something,
monster, I would
absolutely. How
love to
tall
do
are
it.
you?
I am 6'5", so
You're a big guy
I could
too.
do it. I could do it.
Yeah.
You know, like and at Point Park, my friends.
I have some cryptozoologists we should fuck with.
It's like at Point Park, I'm known for probably being like the guy who knows the most about horror movies in Pittsburgh, or at least at Point Park. Um, but my friends would say to me, all the time, it's like, Sam, you're gonna go out to California, you're gonna try and make it as a screenwriter, but somehow you're gonna be pulled in to be playing like the monster or like the psychopath because you just have the build and the size, to do it. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind playing the Predator. Like that movie rocked. I would totally be down to go with all that makeup, just to go through the experience and come out. 'Cause it was again, makeup effects just was the coolest thing to me. And for a while, that's what I wanted to do before I became a screenwriter and I looked at the Douglas School
Yeah.
and the Art Institute
Well,
and
there's what you can do too. Like you can learn different mediums to make your art better
right,
or different, but you still initially have to be an artist, a
right,
physical graphic artist. I think like a lot of people, I would see people drop out of school left and right when I was in college, and that was the thing was people would go there to learn how to be an artist, and you can't. You're born an artist. It's one of
right,
those things like being able to being born how to sing in a high C,
right,
being a soprano. Like
right,
um, I was born an artist. I could
right.
draw
And
when I
it's
was when I was
right,
a kid. When I
right,
like stuff I drew when I was 13 is equal to stuff I'm drawing now. Like I just learned different mediums
right.
to make my
And
art
it's
while I
it's
was
it's
in
so
school.
great that you say that because it's like when I went to the Douglas School and I saw like how in depth all
Yeah.
this stuff was, I knew right off the bat I can't do this.
Yeah, and
You
at that
know?
point, then you got to realize that you
Right.
also have to be a scientific alchemist.
Exactly.
You know?
And you have to. I mean, a lot of people don't realize with makeup effects, you have to full on know in and out anatomy, and
That
that's
too.
that's a very tough subject. It's like my dad had to learn anatomy because he was a nurse, and he had that was like his the thing he had the most trouble
Oh, yeah,
with.
well, I know forensic anatomy. I know
Yeah,
every muscle. That was we learned anatomy in school, but I also learned forensic anatomy and stuff like that from morticians.
right, right.
I
There's
got all the mortuary diagrams. I got to
right.
be able to build a body from the inside out.
Exactly. There's so much that goes into being a makeup
I
effects
did an
artist.
autopsy scene in makeup.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
right. I mean, people don't realize that there's a lot more that goes into being a makeup effects artist than just creating what you see on the
that's
screen.
at the artist we went. It was part of the industrial design program, so we learned like it was a design process.
Right,
Where I think a lot of the makeup schools now are like, oh, you can slap a zipper on it,
right,
makeup. Where there's also a technical special effects field, which is not just slap and makeup on, like blood rigs and stuff like that, and even the glues and the products we use get extremely technical. God, I probably have 30 different types of adhesive at any different time, and if you got one of those mixed up, they could kill somebody or make somebody's life hell.
right,
You have to know your products. You have to stay up to date. You're always learning. I think God, 2 years ago I got to use encapsulated silicone. Like that is amazing stuff compared to like God, in school we were learning how to do a foam latex, and it's like now they have encapsulated silicone. It's so real. It's amazing to work with, absolutely seamless. But like if you're going to go to school, like what are you going to learn? Is it going to be the industry standard, or is it going to be the standard for haunt night?
right, right,
So when I do makeup, I'm doing, I'm not doing haunts. I'm not making rubber masks, monster masks. That's not what I want to do. but I will do an old age makeup. I'll do creature, I'll do like character makeups and stuff like that. That's more, what I'm getting into besides like blood effects and realism and stuff like that. Like I'd like to do monsters. I got my alien there and stuff, and but I want things that can get you,
Right.
that are real, that can touch you, that
Right.
I want when you see a gore effect in my film, you cringe.
Right.
Like I want people to have that feeling. God, oh God, the guys from Girls and Corpses, Tamron was watching us film part of our film and was cringing, and I was like, that is awesome. Because like, if you get these sick guys that watch all this shit and I'm making them cringe, I'm like, we're doing
Right,
something
right.
Yeah. Like, did we pull this effect off right? But he's cringing, so it must not be that bad. It could be a sick movie. If you got to hand out bar fags at your film, it's effective.
Right.
That's
Right.
what we're working with Crispin Glover. He's like, I don't. He'd be like, I don't want a lot of blood. I just want the scene to be effective. But his term of effective ended up being like just awesomely psychotic.
And talk on the subject
It
of
ended up the effective was always 3 gallons of blood. So that he was a lot of fun.
and on the subject of Crispin Glover, like
Yes.
I've loved Crispin Glover ever since he portrayed George McFly. But then before he played George McFly, he was in Friday the 13th Part 4.
Oh yeah.
I've just loved that guy, since Back to the Future. But everything he's done, I've been a fan of. And one of the, remade remade horror films of the 2000s that went under the radar that was actually really really good was Willard.
I love that, and that's like he's kind of dark to himself like that, but not crazy. He's definitely a little bit more social. But I like it. Like I would love to see him play a killer.
Yeah,
Like
a serial killer
yeah, like
psychopath.
why is nobody cast him? Like I've seen him act now. Like I got to be on set with him and watch him act and watch him. Like we filmed on film. We filmed on Fuji, so like we filmed on 35 millimeter. Like he got everything first, maybe second take on
Right.
something, but he nailed it his lines first time, and they, like beautifully. It had to be amazing
Right.
to work on your film. Like I'd love to see somebody cast him as some type of creepy dark,
Done. You know what? Done. I'm gonna write it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write
'cause-
it, and I'm gonna totally pitch it with the idea of him being
like
cast.
I love Depp. Like Depp's fine, but like when I think of when I think of what's his I can't think of the 1800s. The guy Jack the Ripper.
Jack the
When I
Ripper.
think Jack the Ripper, like I want to see Crispin. Something about Crispin, he's intellectual.
Right.
Like if you saw him, like he might not have to say in a film, but you could see an intellectual thought process going on in his head.
Right.
That would make it more believable. Like there's just something there. I would like to see him in something intellectually dark. And like we worked on a period piece too, and I thought he was very good in a period film. But yeah, like just that coldness, like him getting romantic or something, like it couldn't happen there. There's a coldness, like she'd have to die.
Right.
I know some ladies that understand that. But yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I got to go to Prague and live in his castle. We flew me out there twice to work on his film. It was
That's awesome.
amazing out there. I love Prague. I love the experience of going out there. That he asked me to come back twice, which was phenomenal too. So, very interesting, wonderful experience. Wonderful experience out there. And then back here, we worked with Diane Franklin on a film. I said somebody had saw that I worked on the film with her and then was wondering if she lived through it now, which I thought was a cute comment. Like, oh no, I wonder if she lives through it now. And I was like, aw, I worked on it and I didn't think she dies. Like, I thought that was really sweet. I'm like, I gotta write down my kill list, you know. Like, who have I killed? This is great. That's just a goal. There's like a couple more people I'd like to kill for.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to stop. My last question is, what are some of your favorite films? Doesn't have to necessarily be horror, but
I loved Pie.
that's a classic.
I loved that film. Was that Jodorowsky? But that was amazing because I'm really into like alchemy and mystical teachings and stuff like that. But that movie was like deep, and unless you were like into a lot of that Kabbalistic stuff, like you wouldn't even get half that movie. But like I got it like such a level, like my mind was like blown open. I couldn't even believe he put all of that into a film. Like he had Ormish dripping from the computer and stuff. Like I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, for people to even touch on this film, you know, and what's going through his head, I would love to work with him. That movie was awesome. I mean, it was just so intellectual and so deep, and like just the hidden art behind it was just very cool to me. But there was like, I'll tell you one thing. The European version of anything the Americans make is always better. Like all of those films, like whether it's The Ring or the freaking Let Me In, or there was even a couple other ones they make. Like the European versions are always better than the American versions. Old Boy. That's a sick. Oh, I loved what's the one? Oh God, I can't think of the name of the film. It's a rape revenge film though. It's a murder revenge film. It's a Japanese, or it's a Korean one. Park did it too. I'm trying to think of.
Oh, it was Audition?
No, it was the one where oh God, why can't I remember the name of it? Where the guy's father-in-law's the police detective, and then he goes and tries. I have it. I love that. That was one of my favorite ones. That was so romantic. Like to have a revenge film, like it was utterly romantic. Like he puts a tracker up his ass and fucking stalks his ass, and then fucking tortures him daily. Like he doesn't kill him. He tortures him. Like that is so romantic. Like I'm watching this guy be like, it was like a torture porn. But this dude, it was romantic. I'm like, if you can make a torture porn romantic, that's fucking Park Chan-wook, man. It's the shit. It's awesome. It's fucked up. So like I think a lot of that's too, like you got like horror films coming from Pittsburgh, and then you got like some like coming from like cold parts of Canada, like Korea's been through some war, some shit, you know, like you get the darkest films out of these cold, dark places that don't see sunlight or have been through war or grief, and like you get some deep shit out of these places, you know. I think you got La La Land. They get too much sunshine. You know? They're like resorting to fart jokes because they don't know pain. You know? Their produce is organic. They're fine. We got real death, destruction, and 3 feet of snow here, man. You know, we're like, we need like Norwegian metal and freaking, you know, cannibalism. That's how we get through our harsh winters here. You know? But I think it affects the horror, you know. It does. But like, why can't I remember the name of that film? It's driving me crazy. I love that film. Why aren't you knowing it?
I'm embarrassed. I forget the name of it.
Hey, get him, Keith. I can't remember the name of the film. It's driving me crazy. One of my favorite films, Park Chan-wook. The revenge one is father-in-law's the detective, and then he like goes and romantically puts the tracker up the dude's ass and stalks him and tortures. No, not Old Boy.
There's like Mr. Vengeance one, Lady Vengeance.
It was before Lady Vengeance. It's the one he made right before. Oh my god, why can't I remember the name of it?
We're looking it up real quick.
I'm looking it up because it's driving me crazy. That's like, I wait for Mike Gingold to put out his list of favorite films. Like, I don't even like go watch films anymore. Like, Gingold is like, his film critiques are very close to my own. I very much respect anything. If he's like, this is a good film, this is a shit film, I probably agree with him. Like 90% of the time. So like, I wait till he brings out his top 10 list, and I'm like, those are the top 10 I need to see. I don't even really care about too many other people's opinion, but I do respect Mike Gingold's opinion. Plus, he likes my stuff, so we like Mikey.
I can see if I can pull it up on IMDb.
It's driving me crazy. I like Ninja Assassin too. And somebody was like, when I was on Faceoff alone, the Korean girl, and she was an awesome cook, by the way. But she was like, she told me that the dude that was in, and it broke my heart because I was watching Ninja Assassin. I'm like, I like that film. He's really hot in it. And it's an awesome film. She's like, no, that's like our Justin Bieber in Korea. And I didn't realize like he was in a boy band. And he was like straight up there Justin Bieber. I'm like, why? Isn't Justin Bieber killing shit in the United States? Like, what the fuck? Like,
instead he gets killed in Zoolander 2.
We need to learn from Korea, man. And like, we gotta start like, get the Spice Girls out there slaughtering some shit, you know? Like, fighting monsters. I want to see
killers.
I want to see Spice Girls fight Guar. You know?
I just saw Guar.
They're good friends of mine. Very good friends
that was a great show. I saw them Halloween, like this past Halloween at Mr. Small's. That was a fun show.
I'm always at those shows. In the balcony or backstage. Now, I worked for them like 95 to 2000. That was like my first paying gig. I've known Guar since I was 14.
You'll have to tell them that I'm a huge fan and tell them that you were on my show.
Okay, they know who you are.
Well, they don't know who I am, but I'm hoping that you'll tell them who I am so I can get Guar on my show.
I had one friend who was like, you know, I come out backstage with Dave Brocky, and he's like, can you ask Dave if I can give him a hug? I'm like, I don't know you, dude. It's like, run, Dave, run.
I went with my coworker, and he went in with shoes and came out missing shoes.
How do people do that? I see that happen all of the time.
And like it was the last concert I went to before I sold my old car, and I'm happy to say that forever and always there will be bloody footprints in that car on the mats. You know, it's like after the effects at that show was great.
I saw The Devil.
All right, there we go.
I saw The Devil.
We figured it out.
Okay, my favorite film, I think, the last few years, I really liked I Saw the Devil. That was awesome. If you could make, you know, a revenge movie that is like practically horror porn, romantic, that's art. Yeah, that was good shit. Yeah, I liked that. That was
awesome.
Have you seen it?
Awesome.
Have you seen it?
That's one I haven't seen yet.
You gotta watch it.
I gotta watch that now.
There's just it's special, man.
Yeah, that's now on the list.
That's one of the ones, like, my man is like, he will sit and watch the films with me. I'm like, I had him watch Old Boy, and he is just like, the next day he's like, why did you do that to me? And like, my friend from Guar showed me Old Boy the first time. He's like, you have to watch this, and he like put it on and left the room. He's like, I'm like, aren't you gonna watch this with me? He's like, no. I'm like, and after I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's like, yeah. Like, you see it, and then you saw too much. Like, it's a good film. It's fucked up. It will fuck you up. You know, it will like make you question things watching it. Your morality. You know, the morality of the person who wrote the film. You're not sure. And that's what I think with Christmas too, is like you should question things when you watch a film. You know, you should question things. You should question the industry, and it's okay to ask questions. So like, his films are sick. I want to ask questions at one of his shows and see if he'll even answer my question. Because I'd be like I'd ask the questions nobody else would ask because that's the
Right.
type of asshole I am. I wouldn't even like keep my questions PC. Like I want to know whose prostitutes those were. Because that's the part that humors me. And I see the art form behind that.
And on
I
that
enjoy
note, that is the Autumn Cook interview. Everyone.
It gets worse and worse.
Awesome. Well, Autumn, thank you so much for swimming in the bowl with me. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Deep.
You got deep, got real deep, and I know it makes you ticks. So, and so do my viewers now and listeners too. So, yes, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.